So before I get started, though, are there any questions on anything so far, on the presentations, on the, anything we're doing, anything y'all have done, anything y'all are working on? Show me a thumbs up on how many people need time together to work on their presentation. Okay. All right. Okay, super. All right. So I don't have any questions coming up, so I'm going to put Eric on the spot. Eric, tell us, you sent me an email with several neat things coming up that the organizations are doing. Can you just give us a quick rundown so people know what to look forward to?
Yes, of course. Thank you, Dr. Martinez, and good morning, everyone. So yeah, email I recently sent this morning that had to deal with grad gear. So graduates were actually starting to take orders for HCA 2023 grad sashes and for UPD gear as well. So please get that in as soon as possible. You don't have to pay anytime soon. It's just for the order. So just get your interest form in. And then this Wednesday is an Excel workshop. A lot of professors are giving extra credit for that. I know Canego, even Martinez, and Professor Freshman. Just check in with your professors. They're all giving, a lot of them are giving extra credit for that. And on Thursday, there's also an APA workshop. So a lot of things this week. There's an interest form, there's the APA workshop, and there's the Excel workshop. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Eric. Appreciate it. And I will be giving extra credit for that also. And I'll send y'all. Eric, did you send me the links already for those?
For the APA and the Excel?
Yeah.
Yes, but I could send it again.
Yeah, send it to me again if you don't mind, then I won't have to go hunting for it. I can't remember if I already sent it out to the class or not, but I'll resend it.
Sounds good.
Okay, super. Okay, so what we're gonna, let me see, I think my PowerPoint's up. Let me go with share screen here. Okay, where are you? And of course you're not showing. Oh, shoot. Oh, here we go. All right. Okay, so the chapter today is a new chapter from the latest textbook that's on marketing in the digital age, which is really important for, of course, I'm going to think it's important because that's what we're in this class for, but it really is important because if you don't have adequate marketing, you will not succeed. Your business will not succeed. Your company won't succeed. Word of mouth just doesn't work anymore typically. So you really do need to, and marketing in the digital age is so different than it was 30, 40 years ago when you hired marketing agencies or, we still have some of that. We still have billboards. We still have, TV ads. We still have a lot of, we still have some of those components, but we also have, Instagram and TikTok and YouTube and all these different things that are actually very inexpensive or free for your company, which makes it very appetizing to the companies. And typically the people, if they don't actually have a marketing person, the companies will usually just automatically assume that the youngster coming on board, which would be y'all, are going to know all about it. So it's really something you need to pay attention to and take note of. Okay. And it doesn't want to face. Okay. All right. So a lot of things have been happening. The new face of the competition, if you've got a good thing going, then someone is going to step in and try to duplicate you or one up you. So the competition is very, very steep today. And as you're looking at the digital disruption, being felt across industries, some of the stuff the book talked about was that in 2018, bank branch closures reached a new high. In 2015, 1,251 bank branch closures shut down. Now, the bank branch closures are typically the ones when you walk into Walmart, you see a bank, or when you walk into Target, or maybe just a little sub bank in one of these little strip centers, they began to close. And in 2018, we lost 1,947. So people are moving away from walk-in bank services. Does anybody have an idea why? Holler out, because I can't see you.
I think because of the apps.
You're absolutely right. People, unless you're old school like me, people do everything from an app. So they don't need to go to the bank. You can go to an ATM if you need cash, but you don't need to go to the bank anymore to deposit checks, to make transfers. All of that is, can be done through your bank, through your app, or through online, or anything without ever stepping foot into the bank. You can take pictures of checks you've received, and those will be deposited that way. So it has made a tremendous change in the way we view banking. In the entertainment industry, there used to be, maybe y'all don't even remember it, there was a store called Blockbuster, and that store rented, well, they rented VHSs, which I'm sure those were long gone before y'all were even born, but they would rent VHSs, and then they began to rent DVDs. They rented some music CDs, but it was a store, a huge store, and boy, everybody was standing in line waiting for the new movies as they came out, and it was really a big deal. And Blockbuster wasn't the only one. There was, a number of other ones. Redbox is still around in a few places for the people who don't download to their laptop before they get on a plane, or or for some reason don't have cable, or whatever it happens to be. But in 2010. Netflix was founded by a Silicon entrepreneur who was irritated because he had 40 late charges from Blockbuster. And he was tired of, he could almost pay for, he could pay for the movie that he was late on. So he decided to figure out a better way. And so Netflix was born, and people started downloading and streaming. And pretty quickly, Blockbuster just kind of disappeared. So technology oftentimes eliminates what we're used to. Another thing is cable service. With COVID, you could, and the people not wanting to go to movie theaters not being open. Well, cable service started streaming brand new movies. So you didn't have to go to the theater, just sit in your house with popcorn and watch a brand new Blockbuster movie. So that has, considerably hurt places that used to rent the videos, and they really don't even exist anymore for the most part, other than Redbox. Hospitality agencies. I remember years ago when I had to fly somewhere, I always called a travel agent because you couldn't just go online and do it yourself. So people now book everything online, and it's become easier and easier. And there's all these places that will run the gamut and look at all the different prices from the different companies and the different services. And, so there's really no need, because in reality, the people like the travel agents, they had certain companies they would book with. So you never really got the best deal. They would find the best price at the moment from their agencies. But now, you can you can do it yourself. So it's considerably affected hospitality, travel, entertainment, and financial services. So as you're looking at the digital landscape for healthcare, you've got many different digital tools available for managing health conditioning, diagnosing problems, emailing, you can email, you can text your physicians. You don't actually have to go in always. You have with EHR, you have your records, access to all your records. Physicians are able to make referrals easier. It used to take a long time to go from one clinic to another. You'd have to go physically pick up your records and take your records to the other clinic. And, and a lot of times tests were duplicated because they didn't know that you had those same tests. So it did a lot to cut down on some of the access also. Also, the lab results and scans are able to get to the doctors and to you quicker. So, there's just a number of things that have changed due to technology. Some of the other things that have changed from technology would be like taxis. For instance, I was at the DFW airport. Americans saw fit to stick me, to hold me up 2 days for various broken planes and a number of other things. Needless to say, I wasn't a happy camper. And so they gave me a voucher for a taxi. So they said they're open all the time. Just go downstairs and hand them the voucher. So I go down to the taxi booth that is downstairs at DFW. And I get there, of course, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. And after I should have been back in LA 6 hours before that. And there's nobody there. It's closed. So I stop back up there and I tell them, well, there's nobody here. Well, by this time, the American people were also on their way out because they wanted to go home. They've been kept open because of not one, but 2 broken planes that could not get me from South Texas. And so that one of them said, well, go back down there and see if there's a phone or something. So I go back down there and, I do find a phone. Eventually a cab gets there. However, everybody else besides me just went upstairs and got an Uber or a Lyft because they were there waiting. So, Uber and Lyft have virtually replaced taxis in many places. For a long time, Uber and Lyft couldn't go into the airports legally, because you have to have all kinds of licenses and things to be able to pick up and drop off at the airports. But I think they have gotten beyond that. I'm sure they were sneaking in anyway, because who would know? Other things that technology and changing times have replaced are like the Airbnbs. They have caused many of the hotels to have to rethink the way that they market and rethink that the way they do things. So, there's a lot of things that it seems good and it may be good to the client, but I'm not so sure all the time that it doesn't have some kind of domino effect. Then you've got a lot of mobile apps for healthcare as we get back to healthcare. You've got MD Live, which is an interactive on-demand mobile app. You can video visit with physicians. Walgreens has you find a doctor that you can visit with by phone or video. You can, there's something called Moore's Law, which was named after the founder of Intel. He recognized that transistors were shrinking so fast that you could fit twice as many onto a chip, leading to the wearable health devices. Even some of you I know have iPhone watches and all kinds of things you can attach to yourself that, automatically give you readouts. iPhone wristbands or iPhone watches, all these different things that they can monitor all kinds of things with the right app. They can monitor blood pressure, pulse, all kinds of stuff they can monitor with the right apps. So times are changing. It's not the way it used to be. Oftentimes there is a need for seamless customer involvement, where you're actually take part in your diagnosis, everything is transparent in today's world. Used to, doctors would just tell you what they wanted you to know, and people accepted it because they figured the doctor knew best. There was respect for the doctors, and they believed that, they trusted them and that they knew exactly what to do. Today's world, and particularly your generation, you don't accept it for truth. If someone tells you something, the majority of you are going to march straight to the web and see if in fact that is an accurate diagnosis or whatever, that's the right way that it should be handled, whatever it happens to be. So this generation no longer is just openly accepts anything they're told. So everything is very transparent in today's world. Value is the driver for today's patients because insurance is very expensive, and you know, although you have insurance, you may have an extremely high deductible. So patients, although you don't want the cheapest doctor, you know, because that's not a good thing either, but you do want value for what you're paying for. And patients are now managing their own health, and they're able to do it through EHR and through all these, electronic devices. Okay, you can also have access to your healthcare 24/7, and you can look at the price. There's price competition out there, which there used to not be. So when you look at the patient journey, it proceeds along their healthcare path from the awareness of your conditions and symptoms to seeking help, obtaining care, and then getting treatment. And hopefully, behavioral change and protective health will take place. The FDA had the Digital Health Innovation Act, excuse me, which focused on medical apps that present higher risk to patients, which would mean that you shouldn't really depend on them. You still should have doctor care, you know, but the FDA is concerned that, you know, perhaps there's too much dependency on some of these apps. Let's see, what else we got? This chart comes from the book, and it basically just shows you the path of your getting health care. Some of the percentages that were trotted out there were that in a survey that was done, 45% of the individuals who took the survey own a fitness band, 12% own some type of smart clothing, which I think is, you know, a pretty high percentage. 27% own a smartwatch, and 15% own smart glasses. So there are people out there that want to jump on the latest and the greatest. Maybe, you know, some of these may own all four, which may have ramped up those percentages. Okay, so the majority of apps that are made for healthcare are actually for health and prevention. They're really not for diagnosis, even though they may be used that way sometimes. And honestly, people think, oh, this is really new. You know, we get to see a doctor on, you know, on video, on your phone. But, you know, there's just so saying that there's nothing new under the sun. So actually, back as far as 1924, they had doctors on the radio. So, you know, all of these things that we're seeing are adaptations of things that have been around. The people age bracket most likely to own smartwatches. Well, let's see, 35 to 49 most likely to own smart watches, regardless of the age, ethnicity, or gender, and a multitude of apps. So when you're looking for a clinician, 80% researched and even recommended providers. And so even though you were recommended providers with your insurance company, 80% still research them. You don't just take their word for it. Okay, you've got electrocardiograms now that are attached to your iPad. They have something called crowdsourcing for doctors, which they get together and they have collective wisdom instead of just seeing one doctor. It's actually your symptoms and various whatever, you know, to do the diagnosis are sent to several doctors, and so you get a collective diagnosis. So in case one hasn't seen it before, there's another one that may have. So that's a way of getting a better, quicker diagnosis. And let's see, that's just some of the some of the technology that they talked about in the book. All right, then you're looking at diagnosis is on several platforms. I hope that y'all read this chapter because it really is a good chapter. It really tells you about all the things that are going on. And you know, really in reality, we probably only know a very small % of what's out there in the hopper. You know, things that they're working on that they already have in beta versions. You know, but this is what we know about. And you have to, as administrators, you need to stay on top of this because all of this is going to have some sort of effect on your position in some way or another. It could affect your the patients that you get. It could affect how the type of patients, how they're going to react, how you have to deal with them. So you need to be aware of all these different technologies that are out there. Now, there are still barriers to remote monitoring. And the biggest one, can anybody guess what the biggest barrier to remote monitoring is? Anybody? Okay, I guess nobody's, I'm gonna have to wake y'all up with louder music maybe. Wi-Fi. I know that I can't see y'all, but I can tell you that every single one of us probably in the last 3 days have experienced something with our cell phone not working or with our Wi-Fi not working or, you know, some kind of issue with getting the information. It is irritating and frustrating. You know, I can tell you right now in South Texas, you have to just go run and find somewhere that you can stand and hold the phone in the air to get any kind of service. You know, because if you've got miles and miles of nothing, then, you know, you're going to have difficulty getting cell service. It's going to be sketchy. Well, there are people who live out in the middle of nowhere in these vast areas, Alaska, Texas, you know, and other places. Those are the ones I can think of right off the top of my head, that they don't have the ability to get the information because they don't have service. They don't have Wi-Fi. They don't have cellular. You know, it's very difficult sometimes. So that's certainly one of the barriers to being able to use all of this stuff with nothing else, because not everybody still has access. And even in the most crowded cities, sometimes there are too many people hitting the service and you still don't have access, or it's extremely slow. So although all these things are, you know, wonderful and great and innovative, we haven't quite gotten there 100%. Okay, so this is talking about what consumers empowered by searching, what all you can do, how marketers and organizations need to respond to the customer's expectations. Customers want to be able to get information 24/7. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have a person on duty giving out information 24/7, but they have this highly intelligent artificial intelligence, which infuriate me 90% of the time, because they keep telling you that I'm sorry, my mind just went away from me. They keep telling you, how can I help you? I can help you with most things, blah, blah. And you just want to just throw the phone against the wall, you know, but you do have ability to get in contact with some facet of your information 24/7 at many, many places. And companies need to be aware of that people want to be able to chat. They want to be able to get at least basic information anytime they want it. So it's really something you need to think about for your companies. Okay, when you're talking about brand protection, you really do need to worry about that, because this is the era of fake news and online threats and trademark infringement. I saw something the other day and I thought, my goodness, you know, I can't remember what it was now, but it was like a very famous brand, but it was off by one letter. And these people were literally, snatching business away, because when you look at it and it pops up on the internet, you don't notice that it's off by one letter. So you need to be, you need to be vigilant in protecting your brand and your company's good name. Some examples of this was Dr. Birch being sued by Dr. Dre for infringement of trademark. They talked about that in the textbook. Then you had cyber squatting, which registered with the intent to profit from others' goodwill towards a different company. And that's what I was talking about. They would just somehow manage to just be off just enough to snatch up customers. And then we've got, 1 second here. Looks like I've got somebody trying to get in. Oh, I guess not. Okay. Then you've got keying, which means the buying an advertisement space, which results in the trademark holder's name. So, there's all kinds of ways that criminals can step on your good reputation and maybe ruin it. Okay, the Internet of Things is this huge connection. I usually show a video on this, but I'm gonna not show it this time. I will send y'all the link for it. But it shows all the different devices that are connected to each other and to everything else with the Internet of healthcare marketing. The reason I'm foregoing it today, the video, is because I want to give you all a little extra time to work together. So as a marketer, you can follow the patient on their journey, starting when they view the digital advertisement. So anything with a device or sensor that connected to the internet is considered in the Internet of Things. And it's really amazing how many things we do have that are connected to the internet that we don't even think about. Most people, I'd say the majority of people who own phones have phones that can get to the internet on top of their cellular service. And of course, the phone companies capitalize on that, charging at least, I think, $30 a month extra for the privilege of doing that. And I know a lot of you students actually attend class, you do all your homework, you look at Beachboard on your phone, as opposed to even having a computer. I know a guy in Houston who's been working on computers for many years. He was working on the Macs when they first came out. And he told me, he said, there's going to be a time in the near future when people won't have computers anymore. And I thought that he was crazy. I said, there is no way. And that wasn't that many years ago. And actually, we do still have computers, but they're on phones and they're on iPads and they're on tiny little things, And so the day of the desktop computer, it's almost gone. And even the laptops are not as popular as they were. And as your generation ages and your generation's kids age, eventually, those things may be a relic, just like the Apple IIe, a thing of the past, because everybody uses their mobile devices of some sort for everything that they need to do. Okay, this just as it came from the book, it just shows the ecosystem, all the different parts of the healthcare. Again, this is more information about the Internet of Things. And, a big concern for a lot of people is cybersecurity. And when y'all are doing the Navigate 2, almost every single one of the scenarios has something to do with privacy. It's extremely important for patients to feel like that their records are protected. So you have to think about all these things when they're shooting everything up onto the internet. Can it be hacked? And as we know, it has been hacked many times. We're always getting, I'm always getting emails, well, this was hacked. And sometimes we don't find out about it till 3 years later. Your police change all your passwords, your information has been, compromised. And you think about well, that was 3 years ago. it's kind of like close the gate after the cows get out. So, we really have to consider all these things like privacy and cybersecurity. So you really got to have top notch, best in the market types of protection. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there. Let me stop sharing. So that was just a quick introduction to the digital media. I urge y'all to be sure you read the chapter. It is one of the most interesting chapters in this textbook and extremely relevant. I can't tell you how many of my students have come back to me and said, that they really were thankful that we did as much on social media as we did, because that's exactly what they were being assigned to do once they got the new job. Even if you were hired to do something else, a lot of times the digital media will fall on you. Okay, do I have any questions? All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to open up the breakout rooms for y'all to self-select. It is now 8:33. So I'm going to shut the rooms down at 8:56. And so y'all have that length of time to work together. And then if you need to work longer, I would recommend y'all move over to Discord or to one of the other sites that y'all use. Okay, so I am gonna, let's see, participants choose. Be sure you choose the
Professor,
room.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I think someone's asking a question.
Oh, where?
I have a question, Professor.
I'm sorry, Daisy, go ahead.
When we're presenting, are we presenting both the PowerPoint and the brochure, or just the PowerPoint?
Well, actually, the PowerPoint should have the brochure in it, because the purpose of the PowerPoint is just to talk about the brochure.
Got it.
Okay?
Okay.
All right. Anybody else? We're good? Thanks, Alejandra. I did not see that. I was just on a roll. Okay, so I'm going to open up the breakout rooms to let y'all choose your group. And I will pop in and out of your rooms.
Professor, is everyone in a breakout room right now?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't get sent over.
Oh, okay. What you should be able to choose the right room. What number are you? What group number?
Ooh, oh wait, I see it now. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.